Good morning, one and all present here. I welcome you all to the 101 webinar of the Saturday webinar series by Managed CIA. I'm Zenith, working as content developer at Managed CIA. Let me give you a brief about the center. The Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship is a center of excellence hosted at the National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, and it's one of the leading agribusiness incubators in the country. Managed CIA has mentored 503 entrepreneurs and incubated more than 310 startups from different focus areas of agriculture and light sector. The topic for today's session is Agri-Startups in Contract Farming, Prospects and Challenges. We have two speakers joining us today. Our first speaker for the day is Ms. Shravya Reddy, a BITS Pilani graduate. Shravya is the founder of Farm Chakra, an agri company that is building portfolio of eco-friendly farms. She has over 13 years of experience in diverse sectors like education, rural transformation, oil and gas. Ms. Shravya also serves on the advisory board of Kakatya Sandbox, a rural innovation center in Telangana, and is the co-founder of TAI Nizamabad chapter. So over to you, Ms. Shravya, and I request all the attendees to use chat box to address their question to the speakers. They will be taken up during our Q&A round. Please use the chat box. I have already made you the presenter, so you can start sharing your screen.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's wonderful to see all of you here on Saturday. I'm just sharing my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible. Yes. You can start.
Can someone help me with questions as I talk?
We'll be taking up questions post the session, so you can just take the first 15 minutes to delve into the topic, and we'll be taking the questions later.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I run a company called Farm Chakra. We have been in agriculture for the last 3 years. I want to talk a little bit about how I got into agriculture in the first place. I used to work in oil and gas for a large corporate for about 6 years in my early career. I worked in Algeria in the US and Middle East, and I had an existential crisis, which brought me back to my hometown, Nizamabad. I moved to Nizamabad in 2014, and I lived in Nizamabad for 8 years. Nizamabad is about 200 kilometers from Hyderabad, close to Maharashtra and Karnataka border, and it's like a microcosm of mini Bharat in a way. So I had an immersive experience, semi-urban rural experience for 8 years, and I was exposed to a lot of problems in small towns and rural areas, and that is how our curiosity about agriculture actually started. So the topic for today, agri-startups in contract farming. I want to talk about contract farming the Farm Chakra way. So what does Farm Chakra do? We handpick potential farms. We use eco-friendly farming, and we do the farming ourselves from start to finish. And we collaborate with farmers, that marginal and small farmers who work on our fields, and we use advanced techniques to nourish the soil and increase the carbon content, and we grow higher value produce to increase the value per acre. That is primarily the mission of Farm Chakra. So the need for contract farming, the Farm Chakra way first, is our contract farming solution is not for small and marginal farmers. It is for medium and large farmers. So the first thing that, the first statistic all of us are exposed to is the number of small and marginal farmers in India. 95% of the farmers in India are small and marginal farmers. But what was surprising for me to find out is that the 5% of the medium and large farmers actually do 32% of the cultivation. So this is the segment that Farm Chakra is working with. These farmers have a lot of challenges. Finding labor is a challenge. Managing 10 to 50 acres of farms with the various infrastructure issues, and price fluctuations in the market. So there's all sorts of issues that these 5% of the farmers have. And obviously, the weather risk is one more thing. The second thing is that the average age of an Indian farmer in 2016 was 50 years old, and this population is aging across the world. In fact, especially with the medium and large farmers, there is no succession plan. Most of their families have moved out of farming, and most of their families do not depend on farming as a major source of income. But this is a huge chunk of land that is available for cultivation, and this is a place that is going to get filled in over the next decade. And another problem is the rural youth that is migrating for assured income. In agriculture, as you all know, the small and marginal farmers do not have assured income. They take up all the risk, investment, and there's a lot of work, and then there is a crop loss because of pest attack, because of weather, because of price fluctuations and market linkages. All these are compelling the rural youth to move out of villages. So there is these large farmlands that are available, and there are people that are available that are moving out. So this is where Farm Chakra is operating at. And the third myth about farming is that it is loss making. Actually, farming can be profitable at a unit level too. There are a lot of risks. I'm not at all discounting those risks, but it is profitable even at a unit level. So we took these three macro opportunities to come up with a model. What we do with the benefits of Farm Chakra's contract farming way, one is we become a farming partner for medium and large farmland owners. So there is high quality farm maintenance. And the second thing is my favorite actually, is assured income for marginal farmers. What the people that take care of our the huge chunk of land that we have about 250 acres of land spread across 12-15 sites. We employ farmers who have 2 to 5 acres of land on their own. So they finish farming on their piece of land, and then they come to take care of the Farm Chakra farms. So they are the farming supervisors there. And what we also do is we employ the rural youth to work on our farms. We help them. A lot of them don't know how to drive tractors, don't know how to do cultivation, don't know how to run the rotovators. So we upskill the rural youth available in those regions to work on our farms. And another interesting thing that we are noticing is this small and marginal farmers. They are hesitant to try out new techniques on their farms because obviously there's additional risk to take. But when we try new methods on our farm, it's sort of they build the confidence to go and try out a couple of things on their farms. And so that's the reason this is one favorite part, my personal favorite part of this model. The third thing is we need to figure out ways and methods to share the rewards and the risks of farming. What surprises me is, the biggest risk, which is unpredictable, is the weather risk, and that we are leaving it out to farmers to take on that risk. Even if you are someone who's just providing inputs and buying back the produce, the risk of growing is still on the farmer. And this is the risk that we need an innovative financial model to see how that risk can be shared by different interested parties. So at Farm Chakra, we are trying to build farming as an asset class so that people can invest in the crop and get the rewards and also the risk of the farm, of the production in general. The second way and the second method we're trying to de-risk farming a little bit is to see how can we do more value addition so that we can increase the value per acre that way. Should I stop here for any chat questions?
Ma'am, you can move forward with the presentation.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. What have we been doing? So we started in 2019. Actually, so we started toying around with this idea in 2018, where we wanted to do a farmer awareness and farmer education, farmer services kind of model. And then when we started visiting various farmers and talking to farmers, we realized that they're sitting on a wealth of knowledge and that they don't really need, us to go and teach them something. It is about how do we collaborate so that we can support them is the tone that we wanted to take. And that's how we actually said, let's farm on our own and then understand the various challenges. We just went with many questions when we started farming. And we started with 3 acres of farming in 2019. Our costs were 2.5 times the cost of a farmer, and our yield was less than half of their yield, because we tried using a lot of scientific methods, and we heavily were inclined towards being more scientific. Couple of crops, a couple of seasons down the lane, we started shifting our balance to on-ground farming expertise from local farmers and used a little bit of soil science to nourish the soil better. And in 2020, we did 10 acres. We did paddy. It's one of the most popular crops grown in Nizamabad region. We did paddy, we did lots of vegetables, and we tried to see who are the kind of farmers that would be willing to, that would be suitable to work in our kind of model. So that took us a little bit of time, but we were very successful with paddy. With vegetables, we did not, we massively failed. And then in 2021, we increased our land acreage to 50 acres. We continue doing paddy, and our experiments still run for vegetables on a small farm. In 2021, what we've done is we forayed into crop equity investment. We did a small pilot and as a proof of concept with 20-30 people who invested in the crop. The first season, we couldn't provide any returns. Kharif last year, there was a delayed monsoon, and we had a stem borer attack on our paddy. But in 2022, Rabi, we figured out agronomy partners and Coromandel team and KVK, Krishi Vigyan Kendra in Nizamabad, Rudrur. All these partners came together, and this ecosystem is what supported us to address challenges that we noticed in a timely way. So in 2022, Rabi, we were actually operationally profitable. We grew maize and paddy in 2022, Rabi. In 2022 Kharif, now we have expanded to 250 acres. These are spread around 12 to 15 different sites in a radius of 15 kilometers, and we have about almost 20 people who work full time on our farms. These include marginal farmers who own 1 to 3 acres of land on their own. So they do their farming, and then they also take care of our farms. We are constantly learning. We have a lot of questions, some of which we found answers to, and some we are still figuring out. What is the biggest problem that we have faced as a part of our startup? Or I will just say as a part of our agri project, right? This Kharif 50 acres was actually a breeze because it was in only in 3 different sites. But 250 acres, we on purpose have tried to get any land that we could, because we wanted to work with a mix of land that has different terrain, that has water challenges, that has irrigation challenges. So most of our time goes in these 4 issues right now. One is water security. When we had our 250 acres mapped by the end of May, in June we had our track and everything ready, and our plan, a Gantt chart ready to where our tractors will go. But the whole of June we didn't have a drop of water in Nizamabad, drop of rain in Nizamabad. So our tractors were mostly idle. And in June, July, it just poured. When it poured, we were, it poured, and it poured so much that some of our transplanted fields were flooded. The canals were opened at the same time. So there's a lot of issues with water security. Sometimes it's not available. Sometimes it's just overflowing. And that's one of our biggest challenges. The second thing is, in these 12 different sites we operate, there's a minimal infrastructure. Like some of them have bore wells, some of them have access to canal water, but there are massive repairs with pipelines, with bores, with motors, with transformers, and these just take a huge amount of our time. The third thing is accountability of field supervision, identifying a pest, identifying that issues in growing, and or if a particular muddy is overflowing with water, making sure the bunds are maintained, making sure the bunds are cleaned to avoid pest incidents, putting our pheromone traps, actually putting the amount of fertilizer in the field. So these are things that we are still understanding how to build trust and accountability with our field supervisors. And the fourth issue that we struggle with, that takes a lot of time for us, is doing due diligence of farmland. We lease land and we work. So the documentation, the infrastructure that the farmland owner says that is there is if it's actually there. So these are 4 issues that we have on our. These are 4 things that we're struggling with on our farm, on our farming project. Were we able to solve any of these problems? What we're doing with water security is we're trying to look for drought resistant varieties. In paddy, we have identified a couple of varieties which actually require slightly lesser water and slightly lesser inputs too. We're working with VNR Seeds. It's a company based out of Orissa to get those varieties of paddy. And we have we have a paddy on drip experiment running in a different field. We also do alternate wetting and drying. So some of these things that we are trying is helping us address the water security to an extent. The second thing is maintenance of irrigation infrastructure and power infrastructure. We don't have a clue on how to make this more stringent and robust yet. And installing everything new and land development has its own challenges. So working with existing infrastructure is something that we are still looking for a solution and working on. Accountability of field supervision. We use a mix of different tools to plan and to small checklists, and all our supervisors are great with WhatsApp and audio, and that is helping us to an extent. We also built a small operational organogram for us where we have supervisors on the field who are just like, we call them crop care coordinators who visit all the fields. So this is working to an extent for us. For due diligence of farmland, we are using Dharani portal and Google Maps for now to validate the information that we receive from farmland owners. I had a question, is paddy effective with drip irrigation? We just did one season on drip last in Rabi, and we had 50 to 70% yield from that field. We are going to do it, we're going to try it one more time because we've learned the mistakes that we made in the first drip irrigation season. So we're trying also the DSR method, and we'll have to see how that goes. We still have a lot to figure out, but we believe that the toughest of challenges have solutions. Agriculture takes a long time to understand. It's been the oldest profession, and we're operating 250 acres. We've learned how to operate 250 acres. We've learned the kind of people that are required on ground to operate 250 acres. We've learned about the partners we need to work with, the ecosystem that we need to run 250-acre hub, but we are still learning many other things. Still learning how to have a robust irrigation infrastructure upkeep. We're still learning what kind of higher value produce can we make, and that's where we are in our journey right now. I'm open to questions, or over back to Zenith. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do one thing. We'll take few questions after once Mr. Rakesh Reddy completes his session. We have a couple of questions given by our participants in the chat box. So once Rakesh completes his session, I'll assign those questions to him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Rakesh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I will make you presenter now. You can share your screen, or Zenith.
Before Rakesh starts, let me give a brief introduction about him. An MSc Agriculture Economics graduate, Mr. Rakesh Sindagi is the founder of Dharwad-based Agri-Cut Organics Private Limited, and Agri-Cut Organics is into exclusively selling organic food purchased directly from the farmers. Praveen, have you made him the presenter? We request all the attendees to use chat box to address the questions to the speakers. We'll take them up during our Q&A round.
Okay, shall I go with my presentation now?
Okay, Rakesh, do you want us to load the PPT, or you will do it from your end?
No. You have to do it from your end.
He's asking us to do it, Praveen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do that, Rakesh. You please continue. If you feel the network is an issue, we can switch off the video. Not an issue.
Okay, right now I am in my village, Tilavalli, from Handal Taluk, Haveri district of Karnataka. So if there is any problem with respect to my video, please just let me know. So as I told you, I am in village. The light has just gone now. So if there is an issue with lighting also, let me know. So I am Rakesh Sindhi. I am the founder of Agri-Cart Organics Private Limited. So I completed my master's in agriculture economics from University of Agriculture Sciences, Harvard. I completed my master's in 2017. In the same year, we started with a venture called as Agri-Cart Organics. As I told you, I did my master's in agriculture. So we came across a lot of farmers. We spent our time, most of the time, with the farmers only. So as we went through with the farmers, we got to know that there is a problem with respect to marketing of the product. So they know how to produce, but they don't know how to market the product. So to solve this major problem of the farmers, we came up with this idea where we will be providing a platform for the farmers to sell their product. So with this regard, we chose only organic produce and organic farmers, because agriculture is a vast area and we cannot give solution to all the things. So we just stick to organic farming and organic farmers, as they will be doing more work, produce lesser crop. So I am having the issue with my video, so I will be switching off my video.
Turn off your video and let me know which slide to move on.
Sure. I will do it. So right now, you can go to the next slide. As I told you, we had a lot of interaction with the farmers, organic farmers. So we came up with this idea of organic farming, platform for marketing of organic food products. So in 2017, we started this firm, this venture, where we did first start the online marketing for the organic food products, and we were too early into market for the Harvard area, where we are operating right now. So as we were early into the market, we failed with that online market platform. So later in 2018, we started with offline market platform, and we are also providing B2B and B2C selling for the organic farmers. So what we basically do is we purchase our food products, organic certified products, from certified organic farmers who are certified by APEDA and other local certifying agencies. We directly purchase our product from them, and then we process it, we pack it, we brand it, and then we sell it to our B2B and B2C customers. This is what basically we do, and we have been doing it since 2018, and we are doing it through contract farming only. So what we did in 2017-18, we have had both sweet and bitter experiences with contract farming. So I did not know who will all be the participants here. So I have just put a few things about contract farming first, and then I will share my experience of Agri-Cart Organics with the contract farming. So I will just be briefing about contract farming and what are the models which are involved in contract farming. The first thing, we all know that contract farming is a contract between the grower and the buyer. So this involves basically 4 major things: the quality parameters, quantity, the agreed price, and the time of delivery. These are the 4 things which are basic in the contract farming. So next, you can go to the next slide. So considering these 4 aspects in the contract, there are 4 models which I have listed. There are n number of models, but which are quite common are these 4. First one is the informal model, and the first 3 Agri-Cart Organics as a company, we are using the first 3 models and not the 4th one. In the informal model, it is kind of a verbal model where there will be no written contract. There will be only 2 things which will be listed. One is the pricing and the quantity of the purchase. These 2 will be mentioned to the grower, and the buyer will be will be like a informal model, and which we are also following that model. And there is one more model called as intermediary model. So there will be an intermediary person, or you can say as an agent, who will be doing helping both the grower as well as the buyer. So he will be giving all the inputs and technical support to the grower, and will also be linked to the buyer. So this model also we are following. There is one more quite common and very robust model, which is called a centralized model. So in this model, what will happen is there will be a written contract between the grower and the buyer, and there will be specified clauses for each and every step, from starting from bed preparation to harvesting. All the things will be listed out, and each and at each and every step and each and every agriculture practice, there will be renegotiation clause, which is very important in contract farming in this day and age. And next comes the nuclear state model, which is more preferable for the perennials and the tea, coffee, and other spices, where the buyer himself will be having a lot of land and he will be growing his own product. But along with that, he will be requiring to supply to other parts. He will be requiring the neighboring land as a contract. So he will be purchasing from them. So this model we are not using actually. The other three models we are using. Next, we can go to the next slide. You can go to the next slide. I will come to the success stories later. So what are the this contract farming has advantages both to agri startups as well as to farmers. So I will come with the farmers first and later to the agri startups. To the farmers, as we all know, you can give the latest technologies to the small and marginal farmers quite quickly, and there will be credit lining, and also the marketing channels and the dissemination of information, which is lacking in most of the most of the small and marginal farmers. It can be evaded using the contract farming, which will be very helpful for the farmers, small and marginal farmers. And as we all know, there will be assured market, assured price, and there will be increase in the productivity due to the new technologies, and also the quality of inputs which will be provided. All these will help the farmers to produce the product with good quality as well as the increasing the productivity. You can go to the next slide. These are the basic things which you may be knowing. So I just wanted to clear all the things. You can go to the no. You can go to the back slide. So it was the right one. Okay. So to the agri startups, which is very important aspect and the part of this today's discussion. So we all know that startups lack a lot of resources. They most of the startups which I am talking, not the unicorns or all the other things, the smallest startups and the processing industries which are into FMCG products, they lack a lot of resources, and contract farming could be one of the major game changer for the agri startups, because with the lesser infrastructure, with the lesser cost, you can get the quality, all the quality parameters required for producing the product, and the time to time delivery of those products to your clients, which is very major in maintaining the ecosystem of the agri startup. So with the help of the contract farming, we will be getting the quality goods within the time, and the price fluctuations, as we know, due to weather as well as due to other pests and diseases, there will be a lot of crop loss, which may affect in the pricing of the product. So to avoid all those things for the agri startups, contract farming could be a game changer, as I have told you. So what we are doing, we can go to the next slide. I will explain it in the next slide. So the contract farming, along with the advantages, also comes with the drawbacks. As the Ms. Shave has already explained to you, the weather is the major spoiler for agriculture, and we all know agriculture is the riskiest job in the world, one of the riskiest jobs.
Rakesh, can you hear us?
You went on mute, I think. Rakesh, can you hear us? Rakesh?
Yeah.
Okay.
We lost you for last 20 seconds, please.
Yeah, can you hear me right
Now
now?
we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So can you go back to the last slide? Okay. So I was explaining to you about the drawbacks. So these are the few drawbacks which I have listed. There will be a lot of problems with the farmers face actually, not the startups. So there will be undue quality cuts on the growers end because there will be grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So all these will be done. During that, most buyers, what they do is they will cut the quality and say it is a grade 2 and grade 3 quality and reduce the price. So there will be those drawbacks which will be done by the buyer side, and then there will be delayed payments. And we know that for the sugar industry, in the sugar industry, farmers are facing a lot of problems with respect to the payment due to overdues. So there will be that problem as well in this contract farming. And most of the contracts do not consider crop losses, which is very important. Most of the farmers don't know about these things during the contracting, doing the contracts. So they have to be very careful with those things. And even though we are talking about the contract farming, there is no legal protection for contract farming in India right now. And if there is a single buyer and multiple sellers, it's called as monopsony. So the negotiation power of the farmer reduces. So there will be a problem for the farmer. So these are the challenges which the farmer will be facing. So you can go to the next slide. So to avoid all those things, what we can do is we can clearly regulate the written contract with all the clauses which will be difficult to handle in the later stage. And the pricing should be clear and there should be time for reviewing. You can go to the next slide. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So there should be, as I have told you, during the contracting, there should be a proper channel for mechanism for settling the disputes, which is very important in the contract farming, because I will explain it in the next slides why it is very important. And at every agricultural practice stage, there should be renegotiation. So you can go to the next slide. These are the points to be noted. So coming into the most important part, where I will be sharing my experience as a founder and entrepreneur, which we are doing since last 4-5 years. So we started our contract farming journey with millets. This is a major product which we are dealing with, and we have around 100 acres under contract farming, where we are doing it in the Karnataka state, Haveri district, Shigaon Taluk, and Haveri Taluk, as well as the Hangal Taluk, and some parts of Tumkur. So these are the places which we are having contract farming with the organic farmers, where they will be growing millets for us. So we are dealing with foxtail millet, then brown top millet, barnyard millet, as well as the kodo millet. These are the four major crops which we are getting from the contract farmers. So what we are doing is we actually used to do written contract in the earlier stage, but we have come to an informal, non-verbal, verbal contract farming right now. So I will explain to why we are doing that. So in 2017-18, what we did was we did a written contract of purchasing the millets from around 20 farmers, which was around 40 acres of land. We had great experience. As I have told you, there are sweet and bitter experiences. I am sharing you the sweet ones. So we had very good experience with the farmers. We got a lot of good yield. They checked all the quality parameters. They gave us good quality products in time with good pricing. So this was the first year when we started with the millets, and we made a lot of money with that product. We have our customers in Vijayawada and Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Mumbai. These are the places which we sell our B2B products. So we got good yield from the first year in 2018. So with that experience, we are doing it for more than 100 acres right now with respect to millets, and we do not have any problem with the millets right now. And for the 5 years, we have had good yield with good quality parameters. And right now, we are selling around uh, uh, 60 to 80 tons of millets right now. So this has been our experience with respect to millets. Then coming into the bitter experiences which we have had with respect to contract farming. So as an experimental basis, we started doing vegetables, organic vegetables in 26 acres of land. It was a farmland of certified organic land for vegetable purpose. It was on experimental basis. First year it went very well. We did great with the vegetable farming. We provided all the inputs, and we got the yields in the two seasons. We got good yield, and we also made good clients in Bangalore, so which we were supplying organic vegetables to Bangalore as well. So in 2019 we started this as an experimental basis, but in 2020, 2021, we had very bad experience due to weather conditions. So in last 2 years there has been heavy rainfall, and due to flooding, our we have lost 3 sowings. So for the last 3 times, there has been no crop for our vegetable farmers. So that has been very bad experience for us, and we have lost all clients in Bangalore. And coming into the chia seeds, as I have told you, we started this as well in 2018-19. So what we did was we did contract farming in the Mysore area, Mysore belt for chia seeds. We got seeds from CFTRI Mysore. So we gave those seeds to farmers in the Mysore belt, and we started with 60 farmers there, and we had around 50 acres of land under contract farming. So in the first year, we quoted the price from 22,000 to 25,000 rupees per quintal, and we got good yield, and we also sold around 60 tons of white and black chia seeds in the first year at 30,000 rupees per quintal. So we had huge success there. But when it came to the second season, we gave seeds to them, but as there was increase in the acreage of the crop for the chia seeds, the pricing of the chia seeds went down so low that it was around 12,000 to 18,000 rupees for that season in the market. But we purchased the product at 20,000, 22,000 to 25,000, and our clients, which were supposed to buy from us, they bought from the local market at around on an average 16,000 rupees per quintal, and we lost huge. We made lots of losses in that year in the chia seed farming, and the reverse happened with respect to groundnut. Actually, in the groundnut farming, we had around 40 acres of land under contract farming. So the quoted price was around 6,500 rupees per quintal. But that year, due to heavy flooding in Gujarat, the prices increased in Karnataka. It went up to 7,600 to 7,900 in the APMC, so in the market. But we quoted 6,500. So our contracted farmers went to APMCs and sold it at 7,800 and 7,900. And we did not get any crop that year also. So we could not deliver in time to our clients. So these have been our bitter experiences with respect to contract farming. So since last 5 years, even though we are doing contract farming, we have very few good experiences with respect to contract farming. Even though contract farming is good and is beneficial for the farmers, but for the processors, it will be difficult to maintain these large number of farmers and maintain large number of acres under contract. So coming into the conclusion part, you can go to the next slide. Coming into the conclusion part, as I have told you, we have had both sweet and bitter experiences, but most of the time bitter experiences. As a small startup where we have less resources, less money to spend, less labor, less staff, so it is very difficult to deal with large number of farmers. So it may be good for like unicorns, big businesses like Tata's and other, you can say, a number of people. So for them, it may be a proper channel, but from my personal point of view, as a small startup, which we are doing since 5 years, contract farming is good if it is verbal. If there is any written contract and you have done, we have taken a uh, contract with respect to your client as well. So it will be difficult to deliver in time if there are any problems, because you have less resources to again gather uh, all the products which you want to sell. So this has been my experience with respect to contract farming. And if you have any queries, any difficulties understanding what I have said, please let me know. And I'm concluding with this. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with respect to contract farming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rakesh, for the presentation. And it was a wonderful session by you. Like you shared your own experience of working with farmers and the contract farming model. So we have a couple of questions in the chat box. I'll read out them one by one, and after that, you can also ask our participants to lift their hands if they have any specific questions. So the first question is for Shravya Madam. So one of the participants, Mr. Girish Patel, he is asking a question related to your business model. So he's asking, is it a profit sharing model or paid service model?
So for the crop investors who are a part of our project, it's a profit sharing model. And for the farm landowners as such, it's a fixed income that they get.
Okay. And same, Mr. Girish, I have one more question for you, ma'am. He's asking, what is the roles and responsibility of and obligations of your firm while offering the services?
So we have actually for the farmland owners that give out their land to us, we make sure that we are growing produce that improves their soil and improves their soil health. And we're not that's the biggest responsibility we have towards the farmland owner. Otherwise, we take care of end-to-end everything of the crop production.
Okay. Thank you. There's a question for Rakesh. Rakesh, like currently, which specific crop you're concentrating and more revenue is getting generated through the contract farming?
So yeah, through contract farming, as I told you, for the last 5 years, we have been doing it for millets. So this has been our major crop for the contract farming, and we did not have any bad experience with respect to millets.
Okay. So this question is common for both the speakers. Anybody can answer this. So see, mobilizing the farmers into community farming model is a real challenge. So how to do it? What are some of the steps that will definitely help any new person who want to enter into contract farming? So what are some of the strategies that you use to mobilize these farmers into contract farming? So the Rakesh or Madam, anybody would like to answer this?
So with respect to our venture, what we are doing is we majorly go for the local leaders. Like there will be farm leaders who will be there in each village, who we approach them directly. So what they will do is they will call for a small gathering of farmers in the evening. And majorly in our area in Karnataka, Monday is actually free. There will be no farm work done on Mondays. So what we do is we go on Mondays and we approach the local leaders and ask them to gather all the local farmers who are doing organic farming and are not using any chemical fertilizers and chemicals for the farming. They will ask those farmers and they gather, and we just sit for a cup of coffee or tea, whatever available, and we tell about what we are doing and explain it to them. And most of the time, the organic farmers which are doing are they know what they are doing and they are educated about the farming and farm structures and their ecosystem. So they usually agree for our contract farming most of the time, not all time. Most of the time, this is what we do. This is a very basic thing which we do.
Okay. Madam, how about from your end?
I don't
What
have
strategies
anything
you're using?
different to add, but what I can say from our experience is that whenever we try a new method in our farm or we try a new equipment, because we have local farmers who are already employed on our fields, we have a lot of neighboring farmers who visit and see what's happening. So they are curious as a community together because we are innovating in the hub that they are operating in, and they see us doing that hands-on. So I feel if every if every group of villages have a innovation hub right there, like a farming innovation hub, they probably be more open to trying out different things. So this is a little different from the contract farming model itself, but that's how I've seen. We have noticed that a group of farmers come together to see the innovation that's happening.
Okay. So we have a question by Mr. Aruneshwar. So that is related to the price fixation for the produce. So whether you are going to fix the price and for the market price, or you have some pre-decided price before even you start cultivating the crop. So how exactly it works? So whether you're going to purchase the produce from the pre-decided price, or you will purchase on a particular market price.
With respect to Agricart Organics, what we do is we are purchasing organic food products. So if the market price is around 5,000, we add 10% to it, and then we fix the price. So that will be our purchasing price, and we do not change with respect to our pricing. If there is any fluctuation in the market, we do not change. We purchase at the same price.
Okay, so it's more of like market price will be considered, and about the 10% margin, like 10% increment you are going to give.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Madam, how about you?
So we actually, that's not applicable to us because we grow or produce. We already have buyback arrangements from with businesses, and yeah.
Okay. So any success stories from your end, madam? Any farmers success stories, like they collaborated with you, and any stories you can recall and tell us?
Sure. So we have been growing for 6 seasons right now, and one of our farmer supervisors has been with us for 4 seasons. This is the 4th season with him. So the first season, when we were trying to use a bioinoculant to increase the soil carbon content, and we used pheromone traps and an integrated pest management approach. There's, this farmer sort of mocked at us, saying, you guys have a lot of money, you're just throwing it away, and he didn't try to see the value in it. But now it's the 4th season, and he still farms on his farm and our farm too, and he started using some of the things in his farm, which is good validation. It's a very slow process. Yeah, this is just one farmer that we are talking about. But I think behavioral change is something that happens very slowly, especially in those segments. And I can't think of a way to make this happen at scale, but it's very encouraging to see when a couple of people who work with you see what's happening on your farm, go back and try it on their farms, and they're willing to do it on their own. So that's one thing
Okay,
I'd like to
okay.
share.
And any livelihood support that you are providing for the farming community, those who are
Right.
involved?
So all the farmers that work with us, and also the people. So all our farmers work on monthly assured income. The ones that work on our fields. We also have a certain level of daily wage labor that work on our field. The livelihood support that we provide right now is we take care of we cover for their health insurance. The full-time people, we cover for their health insurance for their families too. And for the daily wage workers, we cover for their occupational insurance. And there are 4 or 5 people who work with us that are between 22 to 27 years old. And because we pay a decent amount of salary, most of these guys have decided to stay back in their village. And I think they all these people that work on our farms, at least I speak for them, that they enjoy living in their hometown, home villages, provided there's an opportunity to work. So our salaries are between the range of 15 to 13,000 a month to 25,000 a month, based on the responsibility they take. And especially towards the higher range of the salary, this is pays on par with a government job in a village, right? So this is this is one positive change I see in the people that who are working with us.
Okay. Rakesh, how about you? Any livelihood support for the farmers who have collaborated with your company?
So, to say it will be difficult for me to say it like this, but most of the people which we are engaged with are quite well with their economic conditions. So, actually, it is very difficult to say it, and nobody will believe it because they think that most of the farmers are poor and they don't know anything. But most of the people which we are in contact and we have contacted with, they have smartphones, they have good connectivity with internet, and most of the time they are well versed with their economic conditions. So this is with most of the people are like that where we have contracted. So that has been our case. So it may not be with others, but we have had that opportunity to work with those who have good economic conditions. And to add, which ma'am said, to add what she said, so most of the farmers they take decisions with their emotions. They are emotional decision takers. They do not think about practicality or the future which may arise. Most of the time, I'm not talking about all the time. Most of the time, they are emotionally bound to take the decisions. So before promising or before going into contract with the farmers, we have to be very careful, and we do not have to give any promises to the farmers. So if we give any promise and we do not deliver, it will so there will be so much of a distrust, the distrust between the grower and the buyer. So they will not be able to go again with the same model in future. So have to be very careful with respect to contract farming, and we should not give any promises, fake promises most of the time, and we have to be very practical, and we have to be very transparent and let the farmers know what we are giving us and what we are expecting from them. So it is very important.
Okay. As you told that most of the farmers take decisions based on their emotionals. So when we say contract farming, definitely there will be terms and conditions, right? So do they really understand all these terms and conditions? That's the one thing. And when you are involving them with different procedures related to the farming techniques, so maybe sometimes you may have to give them training on specific farming technologies also. So how do they respond for that? Are they ready to change the new practices, farming practices? What are the challenges that you have faced? This question is for both the speakers.
So I'm also answering some other questions that I've read about farming practices and farm mechanization. Like I said, when we try it on our fields, there's more willingness for our neighboring farms to try it on their fields. And sometimes we over engineer problems because of our background. We over engineer solutions, sorry, because of our problems, and we have learned from farmers too on how to uh, build a habit to quick fix things sometimes. There's two examples I can share. One is when we were growing maize last year, last season in Rabi, none of the farmers in our region use a maize corn harvester. They were all using a harvester that is used for paddy, and it's very slow. The corn harvester is actually very fast. So when we tried it on our fields, the farmers came to see that we were doing it, and some of them were then willing to try it out. On the other hand, we purchased a super seeder this year for soya. to plant soya, and this our super seeder actually wasn't very efficient in the soil and the weather conditions that we had this season, and we had to use the neighboring farmers equipment to increase the speed of at which the super seeder was working. So there's a lot of give and take that happens in our project at this stage.
Rakesh, what about you?
Sorry to interrupt. I couldn't hear your question properly because of the network issue.
Yeah, the question is you will be involving these farmers, and you may have to train them on a specific new farming techniques as per the contract or anything. So how do they respond? So are they willing to adapt to the new farming techniques? What challenges you have faced?
It's very important with respect to farmers. So most of the time, they do not endorse new technique whenever we tell them upfront. So there are you have to identify early adopters in your group of farmers. So what we do is because we have personal connection with the contacted farmers most of the time. So we identify the early adopters. So where we can approach them and tell them this is what we are planning to do, and are you ready to do it, and how do you feel about this practice? So they will be giving us the feedback, and most of the time, whenever we have approached those early adopters, they have accepted to our suggestions, and they have made those suggestions practically visible to other farmers. So once these early adopters show it to the other farmers, they most of the time they go through with that practice. Most of the time it has happened with that. For example, so with respect to traps, we also have contract farming with experimental basis. On experimental basis, we have contract farming for mangoes, organic mangoes. So it is a field of 26 acres. There are 3 farmers for that. So first, we did it with you may be knowing his name as well, Mr. Anand Kadkod. He is from Dharwad. He has organic farm in the Belgaum area, Kittur area. So we did pheromone trapping with his farming. So as an for the fruit flies. For fruit flies, we did pheromone trapping for him. So when it gave results with respect to fruit flies, the other 2 farmers also went with for the pheromone trapping. So likewise, when we go for early adopters who are willing to do all the changes, the others will follow when there is a good result. That is what we do.
Okay. So we have one participant who has raised his hand to ask question, Mr. Syed Hasham Akbar. I'll unmute him. Sir, you can ask the question, the speakers. Mr. Syed, can you hear us?
Yeah. Very good morning
Yeah,
to one
yeah.
and all. Ma'am, I had a question for you. And like I have the question for both of the speakers, because there are a lot of challenges, and farmers have their own indigenous practices, and they don't want to come out of their this traditional methods. Like, how do you like some outside person comes into their field, the village, and they how will they trust you so easily, ma'am? Because I have faced these issues during my RAVE programs and all, and it is a very hard and tedious process. How do you deal with such practices? What are the challenges that you face during your initial stages?
Thanks, Syed. So we actually started in an area which was where we had some kind of a local presence through other work we have done in Nizamabad, and trust is still an issue. It's a very slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. And we have been in the same area for almost 4 seasons. This is our 4th season in the same area, and now people believe us, and because they have seen us fail, and they have seen us stay there while we failed, and then we are now on the path to increase our value per acre. In the last 4 seasons, I have met a lot of different farmers and other well wishers who come by and say, I was passing by the road, I looked at your farm, you guys are not doing a good job, and there's a lot of rumors about how People are coming, outsiders are coming to farm just to convert black money to white money, and there's a lot of noise that we had to withstand and still show up there every day to build that we are serious about what we are doing. I feel that is the only way to build trust with the people in the village. I don't know of a quick, fast, scalable way to do that yet. But what is happening is now, in the people just don't know. People know about us in a 20 to 40 kilometer radius too. Though we are just working in one hub, 20 to 40 kilometer radius, we have a lot of farmland owners now calling us saying, "Hey, why don't you take care of our farms? We are unable to solve all these issues." And because those farmland owners have presence in those villages, and there's their connections that are building that trust with us. I
Do
hope
you
that
even
answers.
work in parts of Karnataka, especially in and around the Bangalore region?
For now, Syed, we are only working in Telangana, but we are looking at doing more hubs in in neighboring states like Karnataka, Maharashtra also.
It would be great because we have the crops which you don't have in Telangana, like sugar cane, ragi, and other forms of millets. It would be a great opportunity if we work together, or like if you want anything from our end, my end, I'm like willing to open to work.
Thank you, Syed.
Sure.
Definitely, Mr. Said. Anyhow, we will be sharing the contact details of both the resource persons, so you can have a word with them offline. So we have come at the end of today's webinar. I thank both the speakers, Mr. Rakesh and Shravya Reddy, for taking up their valuable time and spending with us, sharing valuable information about the contract farming and their own challenges and what they have faced. They share their own experience of working with farmers. And a very insightful session, sir and madam. And even the questions were very relevant, asked by our participants also. So on behalf of Manage CIA, I thank all the speakers and the participants and the panelists for this 101st webinar. We have already posted details of our other programs in the chat box for the participants. We have invited applications for our upcoming cohort under RKVY-RAFTAAR project, where we provide financial support to startups, especially working in agriculture and allied sectors. The application link is still open. So if you want, you can apply for the financial assistance from Government of India. And also we have launched Agri-Eureka, Manage Agri-Eureka 2022. It's a national level business plan challenge for innovators, students, entrepreneurs, and even somebody who is planning to get into a new prototype or MVP that they want to develop in the area of agriculture allied sectors. They can apply for that. And applications for new pre-incubation batch also has been called now, and even for the digital marketing. So all the important links have been shared in the chat box. You can visit our official website also to know more details about us. And we will be sharing the PPTs of both the resource persons along with their contact details to all the speakers, all the participants. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir, once again from Team Manage CIA.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Thank you.